Have you ever felt that no matter how much you try to do the right thing, the liars, the manipulators, and the shameless somehow keep winning? I'm not talking about the cartoon villains we all recognize. I mean the people you work with, the people you vote for, the people who smile at you, but whose success depends on you never questioning them. And here's the uncomfortable truth. You might think this is because the world is unfair, but it's not just unfairness. It's a law of human behavior so old, so embedded in the way we live, that even Plato warned about it 2,400 years ago. And if you don't see it, you will be its next victim. In the 1940s, the German theologian Dietrich Bonhoeffer was locked in a Nazi prison cell. He'd been arrested for resisting Hitler's regime, and he knew, almost certainly, that he would not make it out alive. From that cell, he wrote about something far more dangerous than cruelty or violence. He wrote about stupidity. Now, stupidity sounds harmless, right? We think of it as ignorance, as a lack of education. But Bonhoeffer didn't mean stupid in the sense of not knowing things. He meant something darker, a moral stupidity. The kind of stupidity where people stop thinking for themselves, where they surrender their judgment to the crowd, where they mistake obedience for virtue. And here's the terrifying part. Bonhoeffer noticed that this moral stupidity grows the more power is centralized, that the masses become easier to control not by fear, but by comfort. They don't rebel because they've been told over and over again, let the leaders handle it. You just live your life. Sound familiar? You've seen this before. In your workplace, where mediocrity gets promoted because it's safe. In politics, where charisma beats competence every single time. And in society, where the loudest voice is mistaken for the wisest. This isn't an accident. The 16th century political thinker Niccolò Machiavelli said, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." But what he didn't say, at least not directly, is that it's also better to be underestimated than to be understood. Those who rise to power often make themselves appear simple, harmless, even foolish, until they have the control they need. By then, it's too late. Think of history's great collapses. Ancient Rome didn't fall overnight to barbarian invasions. It rotted from within, as bread and circuses kept the population distracted while corruption hollowed out its institutions. Or take Athens, birthplace of democracy. Plato warned in the Republic that democracy, unchecked, would eventually give way to tyranny. Why? Because people will always choose the leader who tells them what they want to hear, over the one who tells them the truth. That's not a flaw of democracy. It's a flaw of human nature. And here's where it gets personal. Look around you. Every system you belong to, your job, your government, even your friend group, has its own hidden law of power, a pattern that decides who rises and who is silenced. And if you're honest, you'll see that raw competence, morality, or kindness are rarely at the top of the list. What's rewarded instead? Compliance, charm without depth, and above all, the ability to make other people feel good about themselves, even at the cost of truth. This is why the people you admire often struggle to get ahead, while those you distrust seem unstoppable. Here's the paradox. The more virtuous you are, the less willing you might be to bend the truth, to play the game, to manipulate perception. And so, in a world run by perception, virtue can become a handicap. Nietzsche saw this as a tragedy. He believed that most people were not ready to face hard truths, that they preferred comfortable illusions to painful clarity. And so, the rare individual who dared to speak honestly would be punished for it. If you've ever been punished for telling the truth, you know this already. But I'm not here to make you feel hopeless. Because while these patterns are ancient, there is also an ancient antidote. Plato spoke of the philosopher king, a leader who seeks truth above popularity, wisdom above power. And while you and I may never rule a city, we can rule something far greater, our own minds. Bonhoeffer said that the first step to resisting moral stupidity is to refuse to live by lies. That means questioning what everyone else accepts as obvious. It means asking, Who benefits if I believe this? Every time a new idea is presented to you, it means being willing to be unpopular, because popularity is the currency of manipulation. I'll give you an example. There's a story about Diogenes, the ancient Greek philosopher, who was once approached by Alexander the Great. Alexander said, "I am the most powerful man in the world. Ask me for anything, and I will give it to you." Diogenes was sitting in the sun. He looked up and said, "Yes, move. You're blocking the light." Alexander laughed, but he also said, "If I were not Alexander, I would wish to be Diogenes." Why? Because Diogenes could not be bought, flattered, or intimidated. He was free in a way the most powerful man in the world could never be. That's the antidote. Not becoming more like the manipulators, but becoming immune to their currency. The world will always reward those who play the game, but if you refuse to be a piece on the board, if you live by a truth deeper than approval or status, then you step outside the rules entirely. And here's the twist you weren't expecting. Sometimes that's the only real power left. So the next time you wonder why the wrong people rise, remember, they are playing by rules designed for them to win. The only way to win without becoming like them is to stop playing their game entirely. It's not easy. It will cost you. But the reward is something the powerful secretly fear you having, a mind they cannot control. And that, in a world built on manipulation, is the one kind of power that truly lasts.